So one of the most important decisions to make when preparing your will is choosing the executor. That's the person who's actually going to administer your estate. And the role of executor can be complex, and it involves responsibilities that many people have never had to deal with. And this can include making funeral arrangements, ensuring the dependents are taken care of, locating and preparing a detailed list of assets and liabilities, which, by the way, is more complicated in this digital age since most people don't receive paper statements anymore because they're receiving it on their iPads or iPhones. But it's also things like canceling credit cards and memberships and paying bills and keeping the beneficiaries apprised of where things stand, filing the tax returns, distributing the assets to the beneficiaries, and then dealing with any issues that the beneficiaries raise. So even though the executor can hire agents to assist them, such as lawyers, accountants, and trust companies, the executor still needs to be able to understand and process the advice they receive, and they ultimately have the legal responsibility for the actions they take or that they don't take. And the estate administration process itself typically takes up to 2 years to complete, which is surprising to a lot of people. And for an executor who's juggling a full life of their own with young children or a busy career, the administration may take even longer. Most people who are asked to take on the role may at first feel honored, but they typically end up feeling burdened with the work and the time involved, and also the emotional weight of dealing with the beneficiaries and the family dynamics. So how do you actually choose the executor? Well, you can start by considering whether they're trustworthy and responsible, or they're someone who makes questionable choices and wastes time. But you also want to know whether they have the adequate knowledge and expertise to deal with the financial and legal matters involved in your particular estate. Some estates have complex assets and family situations, but even the straightforward ones require some familiarity with the legal and accounting terms and concepts. The next thing to consider would be, are they likely to be around and actually available? So where do they live? Although it can be tempting to pick a parent or a sibling or a close friend, it's important to choose someone who's likely to outlive you and to be well enough and energetic enough to undertake a long-term commitment. Naming an executor who lives outside of the country can have negative consequences on your estate, so it's not recommended. A trust company, which doesn't grow old, die before you, or become too ill to act, may be a good choice. A final thing to consider is whether they're good communicators and what their relationship is like to the beneficiaries. If your children don't get along now, that animosity is typically only exacerbated after your death. Will your executors be able to get along and to keep the beneficiaries in the loop as to where things stand? Your choice of executor is key to ensuring that the administration of your estate proceeds smoothly and efficiently. Ultimately, a well-drafted will and a well-chosen executor will ensure that your last wishes are carried out.